suck though. Right. Hey, side note, I don't know if I can ever work at a UPS or post office. Like in the building, I don't know if I can do that. Or, being out on the physical roads and mailing and actually putting the mail in people. I don't know if I can do that. Because I feel like it's just like Amazon. So many packages. Oh, man, I don't know if I can. Oh, I got traumatized with working at Amazon. All right, that was it.
I've been a mailman for almost 10 years.
Right.
For the past few years, I've had a walking route that I do every day. I live by the city, so there are some very large neighborhoods that I deliver mail to. I have a route that I go on, and I walk from one house to another with my large mail bag, dropping off the mail for each address. When the weather is nice, I really enjoy it because I get lots of good exercise from walking so much.
Oh, yeah.
In my entire time working the job, I've never been scared of anything, not even dogs. And that's mainly because I deliver in the morning time and not at night or anything. But one day, that all changed. I was delivering on my route through a very large neighborhood. There were tons of houses all pretty close to each other. So I was on the route, and at one point I came up to a house just like any other. The houses around there did not have mailboxes down by the street, but would instead be up next to the door of the house. So I walked up the steps to the front porch area with the mail, ready to put it in the box. When I got there, I saw that the main door to the house was open, and just the screen door was closed, so I could kind of see inside. There was a man standing not far away from the front door, and he looked over at me as I was walking up the steps. I just kind of nodded hello to him, and he seemed kind of surprised to see me. He didn't really react though, and then I stepped up towards the mailbox. However, when I was about to put the mail in, the man from inside suddenly spoke. He said, "Hey, can you just bring the mail inside?"
Hey, no, with your clock ass.
You're quick? I said sure, and I opened the front door and stepped inside the house.
Oh my God.
After getting in, I saw the man, who was pretty tall and also large. He told me to set it on the kitchen table, which was about 10 feet away.
Ain't no way! You lying. I ain't never seen or heard of a male person going into somebody's house. Bro. Unless I'm not reacting to like that looks like an AI house. that house looked too perfect. Unless I'm reacting to like not the right mail or post office videos, I ain't never in my life seen or heard or read of a post office mail person going into somebody's house. I don't even think Amazon people be doing it. You got it. You got all of that.
I walked over and set the mail down, but as I was doing so, I heard the front door closing. I looked over and saw the man standing directly in front of it and facing me.
Oh my God.
He had a very serious and almost angry look on his face. Then I heard another man's voice from down the hallway somewhere in the house yell, "What's going on over there?" I was confused, but just wanted to leave and continue with my route. I started walking over to the man standing in front of the door. He wasn't moving at all though. Then I heard footsteps approaching from the hallway. I looked over and saw another man come walking into the room. He saw me and said, "The mailman." "No." I looked around and asked if I could leave. The big guy said to me,
Ain't no asking. I'm moving. It's a guy in front of me. Let me go ahead and grab and squeeze yo, yes. Yo, yes. What did I call it before? I called it something. Like a private area. I forgot what I called it. But either way, I'm grabbing and squeezing yo, yes. Yeah. Straight like that. If you're not gonna move, I'm gonna make you move.
"You ain't leaving." I had a bad feeling, and I had had a bad feeling ever since the guy shut the door. I looked around and saw a back door. It was kind of just an instinct, but I took off and started running for it. As soon as I did, both men started to chase after me. I was able to make it to the door, but when I stopped to open it, the smaller man caught up to me and tackled me to the ground. There was a brief struggle, and the big guy came over there as well. Honestly, my mind kind of went blank, and I don't fully remember what happened. I just know that somehow I was able to fight them off just long enough to get up and make it out the door. I took off running outside, and the men briefly chased after me, but I was faster than them, and I ran down the street far away. When I realized they were not chasing me anymore, I stopped and I called the police. Then I waited there for them to arrive. They went to the house, but the men were gone. It turns out, though, that neither of the men owned the house. They had broken in and were robbing it. That made a little more sense to me as to what happened. I had been very confused. Despite being shaken up, though, I was thankfully not injured and was able to continue with my route for the day. Several days later, the police located them.
Continue your route? What are you talking about? I'm traumatized. I need at least, like 2 months to get myself back together with a full, and I'm getting paid for them times I left. Y'all paying for that, and then some. I'm good with 10,000. I'm good with 10,000.
Who had done a string of robberies in the area. Looking back, I'm really glad that I made it out of there okay, and I'm glad that the men were caught.
I really hope we don't go into nobody else's house again, because that was stupid. I'm not doing that.
Something really strange and creepy happened to me once. This was back about 25 years ago or so. At the time, it was just my husband and I living in our house. We lived in a neighborhood with many other houses on it, but it was generally pretty quiet, especially at night. I remember one evening around 7 or 8 p.m., I was looking out of our front window for whatever reason. I noticed that there was a mail truck parked on the side of the road on the other side of the street. I didn't know what it was doing there. We had already received the mail earlier that day. Plus, something about the truck looked off, like the mail logo wasn't quite correct looking. To me, it seemed kind of suspicious. I didn't see anybody get out of it though, and I couldn't quite tell if anybody was inside. Several hours later, and I looked again, and the truck was still there. I found that to be very odd. Our street was not really the type that would have cars parked on the side of it a whole lot. There wasn't really much that I could do about it though. I know by the next morning, the truck was gone. So really I forgot about it until the next night though. This time, the truck came back again. It was later than before though. I was passing by the front window at probably 10 o'clock at night or so, maybe later. I noticed that the same mail truck was stopped on the side of the street. This time though, I saw movement in the driver's area. Then the door opened and a man got out. He was wearing a jacket and a hat, as well as sunglasses and a backpack. It looked sort of strange. Then he walked up into the yard of the people who lived across the street from us. I watched as he went up to their front step, and then he kind of got out of my view. I knew he didn't...
You got none of this on camera? Man, nighttime, I know nighttime spooks is probably known of not showing the actual footage or pictures or audio. But man, come on, man. I feel like if you was to show that, I feel like your views and stuff would go up. Cause I would love to have I don't know if the person actually had like this, like what he's talking about on camera. But I would love to have to see that on camera. But I mean, it's cool. I mean, I can put the images in my head and stuff. But I would love to see that on camera.
Lived there, but I thought maybe he knew the neighbors and was visiting. Still, I kept watching though. Soon the man appeared again, walking down the yard. Then he crossed the street and entered our front yard. I quickly ducked down from the window. The man walked all the way up and then got to our front step. I could hear him then. There was a brief 2 knocks at the door before he turned and quickly walked away. I peeked out of the window to see the man walking back down, and then I saw him go into the next door neighbor's property. I then went and told my husband about what was going on. When he came to look though, the man was out of sight. His mail truck was still there though. My husband got curious and decided to go outside.
What?
I didn't know what he was going to do, and I told him not to go after the guy or anything because he might be dangerous. But when my husband opened the door, he realized that there was something on our front step. It was a single VHS tape. He brought it inside and showed it to me. This was a long time ago, so of course we had a VCR. We were both very curious as to what was on the tape because it had no label or anything. We put the tape in the VCR and pressed play. It started out looking like a home video taken from a video camera, and it was showing out the windshield of a car driving down the road at night.
Oh, yeah.
There were no sounds other than the driving sounds. This continued for about probably 5 minutes. Then the camera turned, and we could see part of the man's face. He was still wearing sunglasses and a hat though, and only like half of his face was visible in the frame. He then started laughing in a really creepy way. This continued for an uncomfortable amount of time. It was enough to give my husband and I the creeps. Then it abruptly stopped. That was all that was on the tape. We looked outside and the guy was still gone. We thought about calling the cops, but decided not to. A while later, the man returned to his mail truck vehicle and left. It looked as though maybe he was giving the videotapes to everybody who lived on our street. Why though, I have no idea. After that night, he never came back. I never found out who the guy was or why he did that. Maybe it was just a strange and creepy prank. Either way, it really freaked me out.
I would have never went outside that house. I would have never went outside that house.
I used to work at a post office for a few years. I have one story of something really crazy and almost unbelievable that happened. So the post office that I worked at was fairly large. We were near a big city and we get a good amount of customers. Many people would come in to ship packages and things like that. Some people also had mailboxes with us there. I worked behind the counter helping customers, and then I would work in the back organizing packages and other parcels as well. One evening I was working with my coworker Andrea. The two of us were working until past close, which was 6 p.m. So overall things were pretty quiet that day. We had a few people come in here and there for whatever reason. By 5:30 things were very quiet. Andrea went into the back to do some work, and I stayed by the counter in case we got any more customers. Then, literally 5 minutes before closing time, this guy came in. He was wheeling in this really large box that was all taped up. He had one of those dollies that he was wheeling it in on. The man came up to me at the counter and said that he would like to mail the box. I told him sure, and I weighed and measured the box with the guy. It was really heavy, about 150 pounds, and I told the guy the price, which was pretty expensive. He gave me the address he was mailing it to, and the man then told me that inside of it was expensive gym equipment. Then I wheeled the package into the back, and the man left. Right after...
Why are you saying all that? You know? You talking too much. I mean, yeah, it's hella heavy, but you don't have to say what it is. Like, what?
I locked the doors, and we were closed. Then I went into the back with Andrea to finish working. We had some things to do, such as organizing parcels and whatnot. I remember that after about 20 or 30 minutes, we were just about done. I turned off some of the lights, and Andrea and I were talking a little bit near the doors right before leaving. Other than that, things were completely silent. Then, out of nowhere, we heard this sound. We were the only two there, so we had no clue as to what it could be. We walked over and looked to where the sound was coming from. The next thing we knew, we saw this guy inside the back room of the post office. He was standing up and fairly short and thin, wearing all black, and also had a ski mask on so we couldn't see his face. I had no idea where he had come from. Then I noticed the large box that the man had dropped off was wide open. The man had been inside of it. Neither of us knew what to do. The man just stood there for a moment, and then he started walking towards the front. He went over and left through the front door, leaving the post office entirely. Andrea called the police. She reported what happened, and we stayed there for a while, not knowing what was going on. When things finally calmed down, though, we were able to realize more of what had happened. There were surveillance tapes inside the post office. They would not get the identity of the man who was in the box because he had a mask on, but we did have the identity of the guy who tried to mail it. A few days later, I found out that they located both men. They had a plan to get the smaller guy in the post office, and then he was going to steal a bunch of packages, I guess.
Oh, God.
He was planning to leave the box after Andrea and I left, so he would have the whole mailroom to himself. However, he got hot and uncomfortable in the box, and also didn't hear very well from inside of it. He knew he was getting mailed right before we closed, so he figured that we had left already. Fortunately, we had not. That was by far the craziest thing that ever happened when I worked at the post office.
Oh my God. I wonder, alright, so when something like that happens, I wonder if every other post office in the country, like, I wonder if they tell, like, the CEO, or I don't even know who the CEO would be, or like, how do they communicate that with every other post office in the country? Because I've never heard about that. It's not like they go through your packages, right? like the employees. That's a. I would have never thought about that. Hopefully other. I don't know when this took place, but hopefully the other post office in the country knows about this and updated their security and shit. That's just,
A couple of years back, I lived in this one apartment building. I had a place on the first floor, and the complex was pretty average, I would say.
oh yeah.
I only lived there for a year, but towards the end of my lease, something strange happened. Most days, I would go down to the mailroom to check my mail. Because I was on the first floor, it wasn't that far of a walk, which was nice. One time, though, I saw that I had a letter in my mail. It had no return address, but was addressed to me, and it looked to be handwritten. I was curious, but thought maybe it was still an advertisement. I didn't know who would write me a physical letter, because most people just reach out online or over text. I had seen some of those spam mail letters that look like they're handwritten so that you'll read them, but then it's all just a scam. So I took the letter back to my apartment and opened it. Inside, it was not an ad but a written letter. However, it was very strange. It didn't really make much sense to me. The letter just said, "Hi, how are you?" and then said my name.
That's it?
Then it said, "Expect more mail from me soon." And that was it. The rest of the letter was blank. I had no idea who would send this to me or why.
Yeah. If I got that, I'm just deleting and reporting you to spam. I'm not about to entertain that.
I just threw it away at that point. It seemed stupid. After that, though, maybe 2 days later, there was a small package for me in the mailroom. I hadn't ordered anything that I could recall, so I brought it to my place to see what it was. When I opened the box, it was completely empty. I didn't know what on earth was going on. Was somebody messing with me? Why? Then, several days after this, I got another package. Based on the handwriting of the address, it appeared to be from the same person again. This time, it was not empty, but had all these little fake spiders in it. It was gross. I disposed of that as well, and did not know what to make of this. I didn't really have any friends with that kind of a sense of humor. So, for a few days, I got nothing else. Then, I got another letter in the mail. This one said, "How are you enjoying my gifts to you?" Well, I could not answer them because I had no idea who was sending these things to me. By that point, I didn't have much longer in my lease. I wanted to move out as soon as possible. I got one more package from the person. This one was filled with candy hearts, but they were not in the package. Whoever sent this literally took several bags of candy hearts probably and dumped them straight into the box. And the box was basically completely full of them. It was so weird. I threw those away as well. After that, I only lived in the apartment for about another week. I never did find out who was behind those or why. Thankfully, at my new place, I haven't received any strange letters or packages.
I'm surprised you didn't move out. I probably would have moved out. That's only a matter of time.
I work for the U.S. Postal Service and am a mailman. I drive a mail delivery truck every day and deliver mail to houses as well as some apartments and businesses. I've had several different routes over the years. My craziest experience happened about 2 years ago now. My route at that time took me through this pretty nice neighborhood at one point. It wasn't like a super wealthy neighborhood or anything, but I just thought that it was a nice neighborhood. It had decent houses on both sides of the street, and it was never that crowded or busy overall. I enjoyed driving there, and the people seemed to be pretty nice. So one morning, I was making my deliveries. I would drive right up to the mailboxes and then just put the parcels right in the box and then continue on. So I reached one mailbox and I saw the house up ahead that would be the next one had a fairly short driveway and the garage door was open. As I finished putting the mail in the box that I was at, I slowly proceeded to the next mailbox. As I was doing so, I saw a man walking out from the garage of the house ahead, and he walked down the driveway towards the mailbox.
Oh my God.
The man had a beard, sort of long hair, and I remember that he was barefoot. He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt though. He approached me as I was about to put the mail in his box.
Hey, I don't know if anybody that's watching me right now, I don't know if any of you all ever been a mail person or a postal service person, or just like a delivery person in general. But I feel like as a delivery person, I think one of my pet peeves would be somebody already being outside. Like, if you don't have to sign for nothing, yeah. I'm a people's person, but like, I'm not trying to have no interactions with. I just want to put the mail inside the shits, and that's it. Just go about my business. Yeah. I just want to do my job and then go home. I wave. I say, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's good? But I don't want to hold a conversation. I don't. So when I see you coming out the garage and you trying to meet me at your mailbox. God damn. Oh.
He told me that he would just take it and held out his hands. So I gave him the mail and told him to have a nice day, and then I drove on to the next house. I continued with my route and didn't really think anything more of it. The next day, just about the same thing happened. The guy, who was once again barefoot, walked down the driveway and took the mail directly from me. Then he walked back up the driveway and into the garage. I had never seen the guy before, but I didn't really pay that much attention to who lived where. I delivered to a ton of houses in the area. The next day, though, I got called by my supervisor and told that someone on my route was not receiving their mail. I was very confused because I knew that I had delivered to every address. I had been doing the job long enough to be confident that I had not made a mistake. I found out where exactly I was told they weren't getting their mail. I realized that it was the barefoot guy who I had been handing the mail to. This made me angry because I was literally handing the mail right to the guy. I told my boss this, and he said that he would get back to me. A short time later, he told me that the homeowner never accepted the mail directly from me, and nobody else lived there.
Oh, God.
He told me that the guy who lived there is gone at work all day when the mail arrives. I was confused and thought that maybe his neighbor was stealing his mail or something. The next day at my route, I did not see the barefoot guy. I put the mail in the box and continued. Later on, I found out some crazy information from my boss. He told me that the guy who lived there said that a man had been secretly living in his garage without him knowing.
Oh my God.
After he heard about me handing the mail to a guy coming out of his garage, he went into the garage to look around. Apparently, that's when he found the guy living there. I guess the man rarely used his garage and hadn't been in it in weeks. After he saw the guy, he called the police, and the man was arrested for trespassing, and his mail was also in the garage.
Well, at this point, y'all damn near roommates.
Craziest thing I ever heard. I was also relieved that I hadn't done anything wrong and wasn't in trouble. The guy who lived there actually called me personally to thank me, which I thought was really nice. At the end of the day, I'm really glad that I was able to help, and that the man living in the garage was caught without causing any major problems. That's been my craziest experience as a mailman.
Yeah. Shouts out to anybody that's doing something like this or about to do it, because I couldn't do it. And I especially couldn't do the whole human interaction thing. I just want to put the mail in your mailbox and that's it. Or the closest I'll get to like your house is like putting the mail on your doorstep. That's it though. Like I'm not doing shit else. I'm damn sure not going inside the house. I don't like human interactions. I don't like going to other people's houses. You know? Let me just put the mail in your mailbox and let it be dirt. Come on. Why couldn't you just wait until... Why couldn't you just wait until I was done? Until the mail was in there? You got it, player. You got it. Clock all this. Keep it cool. Keep it classy. And I love you. Stay happy. My family.